Welcome back to the Blissful Badger. I am trying to find out if this is going to work today. Yay! Alright. Hi Sean, how's it going? Mike doing okay? I just changed the location a little bit. I'm not exactly sure if it hits. Whoa! Music. Yep. Alright. I'm thinking it'll still hear me fine, but... Hello, Silver! I was getting tired of the mic being in my, bump zone, so I moved it up a little bit. So hopefully the, Hey, Mustache! How's everyone doing today? Oh... I mean... Of everyone, Nurgle is happy that it's there, but yeah, that's not great. Alright. So hopefully the music's good and the mic's good because I just repositioned it, and this is still in focus, I think. Okay, don't go past there. I think I bumped it just a tiny bit, so I could always rotate it down. Okay, there we go. Alright. Sad about the Famir, and definitely not happy about the Nurgle's Rot. But the Great Horned Rat says, let's paint tonight, so there's at least that. So I figured I would start with the second purple alchemy on the tail. Great. Alright. The paintbrush doesn't want to stay in my hand today. It's been a long day. The thing I needed to do today that I couldn't get out of required me to go somewhere where there was a bunch of dust, so I got a little bit of a congestion thing too, but it's just from today, and I was fine a few hours ago, so... And, yeah, I'm going to do the tail, and then I'm going to start working on the metal. So... See, this time it darkens a lot. But it does a nice deep recess that way. Alright, let's see. There we go. So, difference between one coat and two just makes it a richer color. Thanks. I've done the majority of the fur and skin. I do plan on doing a little bit of highlighting with paintbrush, just going in and hitting some of the fur, brighten it up a little bit. Oh wow, that's a good order. Well, I like the richer color. That's why I'm doing the whole thing. I want the ridges to be dark. So I could go back at the end and hit a little bit of highlight on them, but I mean, I'm not just going to leave it exactly like it is. I planned on doing more layers, so... Oh, I don't even have a paper towel ready yet. Let's see. Alright. Alright. And the metallics water. And I'm going to start with some tinny tin. If it'll... Yep, there we go. And Mortarion. Nice. Alright. Alright. So, tinny tin. I'm going to do this. If I feel the need, I can always add a third metallic. But I'm going to go around, and anything that I feel should be tinny tin. Tin. Okay, I am in my own light shadow here. That's fun. Alright. And yeah, I'm painting the Great Horned Rat's disciples, not Slanesh's. So... I mean, we all have a lot to work on. That's part of the fun. Yeah. Other than being a long day around dust, I've had a decent day. I hope everyone else has too. Cool. How are you today? Gang keeps growing every day. I love it. Cool, cool. Nuln oil works amazing on a lot of things. I'll probably do a little bit of that on some of the metallics. And yeah, I think I need to drink some more water. Oh yeah. Nuln oil spillage is a rite of passage. It's a matter of when. See? Alright, I'm gonna do this large piece in this. Yep. It's actually one of the reasons when I was working with the washes yesterday, I moved the model over to one side and the bottle to the other side. Since I don't have them secured fully on the bases, I was like, ooh, this is gonna fall. This is gonna fall. It didn't, but I was prepping for it. But I was also not using the Nuln Oil, so it's just waiting. It's biding its time. I'm going to alternate these panels. So that there's more contrast. Okay. I'm gonna do the blade in the steel. I can do the belt buckle. Okay. So one of the other things you have to watch out for, all of the dropper bottles, I'm just picked up the one that's nearest, that have a bearing inside of it. Do not squeeze it when it's fully straight down. Always squeeze at an angle, because it can, and sometimes does, pop open. So, well, I don't see my water one. Do I have it somewhere? Huh. Okay. I don't see it. That's my other knife. Okay, I don't see where it is, but they just clip in, so you gotta be careful. Alright. So, did I get enough tinny tin on him? I think so. I can always go back. So, second ogre. Let's get this. Yep, see? It's Badger Chat Bingo. So we've got the Ted Danson now. We've got spilled paint pots. What else? Oh, we got Famir. I mean, we're going to circle back around on all of these topics again anyway, but Okay. So, in the darker lighting, you can actually see the shininess of the metal, which is pretty cool. Oh, I've gotten to a point where I only mix like 3 or 4 colors, and I have a YouTube channel. So I can just go back and watch whatever I did previously. So I actually take and watch my how I the mustering an army Skaven every now and then just to make sure I know which colors I used for my Skaven. I don't have to write it down. I have it on video. Plus, I try not to mix that many of my paints. Um, like my Space Marines are a mix of the green I have and the red I have of Army Painter with the black, but it's like 6 to 1 and 8 to 1 ratios, so that I have just a little bit darker than normal. And honestly, I can do a fairly close, like, it doesn't have to be perfect, and each of them will look different, but I do unit by unit for my Space Marines, so if one unit happens to be, a shade and a half brighter red, then that's fine. Um, because I end up highlighting up from there. Oh yeah. Yeah, that happens too. I should go around and write down everything just so I have it all in one spot instead of having to watch videos, but that would require effort. And some days the effort is sit down and paint for a while. And I would rather that effort be the case. And then there's always a few blends here and there that are just a 1-to-1 type of thing. Okay. Yeah, certain colors are worth actually color matching, and others you can get away with a shade or two off. I tried to match the Army Painter green with black from my Dark Angels. Which is the screen. It's the Army Painter green skin old formula mixed with their black. And I thought that something like the medium olive or ow well, I thought I could get a good Vallejo that would match, but it's the wrong. It just didn't work. It had a different sheen to it and everything. But the Blood Angels mixture of red and black, the black red is about 2 shades off, but a single bottle instead of having to mix it every time. And since I do unit by unit, I don't have to match it. I can just use this one now. So that's always cool. But I do still have to mix the green. All right. But I also, for my Tyranids, I did stripes on their backs, and I intentionally did 3 different colors to start, and I can just take a different color and do their stripes in a different color, and it works for the army. So which is good because the apple barrel colors actually get discontinued occasionally. This guy has a lot more metal on him. Yeah. Yeah, like I'm not gonna purchase any of the old army painters that they're discontinuing now. I'm gonna continue on and move forward with that. So, certain colors I have to be okay with swapping out for, which, like I said when I was doing the washes, if I'm painting a whole bunch of yeah, I don't like to paint two different armies at once with the same bottle. Like, a couple of drops here and there is one thing, but if they're a primary color or key part of painting my army, I'm going to keep a separate bottle for that. Like, if I what's a good example? I'm okay with using a little bit of pale sand on these guys, even though it's a primary for my Stormcast, because I'm not going to do a lot of it. I'll probably just, like, do the claws and teeth. And claws and teeth isn't going to take up a whole bunch. I'm not going to run out of the bottle while painting one box of Stormcast. But if I'm doing a wash that is going over all of the army, I gotta keep track of that and make sure I don't run out. Yeah, I have about 1,500 points of Tyranids painted with an old color scheme and a slightly modified newer version when 10th edition came out, because I was doing a camo speckle pattern for my Tyranid flesh, and I chose to do a dry brush and speed paint path now. But yeah. My Dark Angels army is almost exclusively my original start set of Army Painter paints of 8. I've done a few small details with other paints, but pretty much the whole thing is that one starter, and I haven't purchased a single new bottle of any of those colors. So we're talking not only a single bottle for the army, but I've also had it for over a decade, and the paint is still good. So I have to shake it every now and then, but that's it. That's what I got. But at the same time, I have about 10,000 points of Tyranids that I haven't painted up. So when I did change to the new colors, I made sure I had plenty of the old speed paint formula, because I was using the old ones. So I actually purchased, there was a company that was selling their old stock at about 60% off, just to clear it out. And I made sure to get plenty of it. So I shouldn't have much of a problem getting through the last 10,000 points. And if I purchased, I don't know, 2 or 3 more units, I'd have 12,000 points of Tyranids. There. I figured it was the right time to say 12,000 points. So. Oh, that's a bolted on tooth. That's cool. I'm gonna get that with the silver color. Oh, there's one more still. But I also was looking at my Space Marine 2 armies together. Yeah, I might do some Tyranids soon once this is done. I could definitely use a good painting of my Tyranids. But yeah, I was calculating my my Tyrannid. Yeah. Thinking too many different things at once. Okay. I was calculating my Blood Angels, Dark Angels, and unpainted Space Marines, and combined, it is just over 12,000 points. So I might have 12,000 Tyranids and 12,000 Space Marines. Just the Space Marines happen to be 2 different armies because I chose to paint them that way. Yes, exactly. Battletech and the Abomination conversions. I do have these written down, actually. I have a little notepad down next to me, and I've been keeping track of them. Oh, was that the end of the music? No. I should know this by now. We've listened to this, what, 12 times, 15 times in the last week? I have 15 minutes left on it. Alright. idea. I'm having a hard time finding this color. Give me a moment. So one of these days, I'm actually going to take all of the paints out of the drawers and organize them by color. Or at least, you know, a variety of them. Aha. Oily steel. If it'll focus. Focus. But I'm going to do this for some of the cabling. Because I can. So long as it is actually productive, holding off on getting the other ones, go for it. But if you're finding that you're not doing any hobby at all because you'd rather be working on the golden, get the golden. Like, so long as you're motivated to paint and you're working on your stuff, just get whatever you're interested in. If you're actually just buying and not doing anything, that's not great. Find the motivation. But if purchasing the item with the intent to use it as a motivator, that's not a bad thing. So long as you can afford it. I really love Two Steps from Hell. I was glad to see that I could use it for streams without them, you know, copyright striking me. So I could probably find a new playlist. so that it's not the same songs in the same order every time. But I really like their sound, and this one doesn't have a whole bunch of lyrics, too. Some of their other music has lyrics, so... If I could trust not to get a copyright strike, I would probably be playing some Sabaton and Nightwish and stuff like that as well. But yeah, we want to stay on YouTube's good side. Right, Mustache? And again, I think there's a few more things that I could do so long as I didn't keep the videos up afterwards. But I'm not going to experiment right now. I'm going to keep it to the things that I know work. And get painting done. Yeah. And I mean, a 2 hour, 10-minute playlist isn't horrible. You don't ever hear the same song more than twice in a single stream. So... My browser just disappeared and came back. I guess that's another bingo slot, right? Browser issues. We've got at least a dozen. Yep. Yeah, that medieval lo-fi can work too. Uh, I occasionally listen to uh, synthwave. Nothing like being transported back into the 80s. So these belts are supposed to be leather, right? They have marks and Mars and stuff, so I'm thinking it is. The only reason I wouldn't play Bardcore is the lyrics. Um, I find I like having music in the background, but the more lyrics there are, the less I'm enjoying it. Well, they're leather once I've painted them. I haven't actually painted them yet, but I'm thinking leather. Trying to get some of the staples while I'm at it too. Thank you. It's just a matter of taking my time. Alright, now the music is over. Uh-huh. I mean, slightly faster paced is fine. Again, it's when they start having lyrics that kind of throw me off. Um, and I can still hit that mic up there. That's funny. So yeah, just trying to go through and hit some of the metallic areas. I've decided to do 3 metallics. And I'll still have to go through and hit a couple of the fur clumps after this. Another funny thing is to think that this is technically battle ready, except for not having a base. It's not done yet. Like, that is also another reason why it takes me time to get through things. It's like, it's not done to my standards yet, so I get to it eventually, but thanks. I appreciate it. Let's see, is it gonna focus? No. It's coming there. It's coming together. Sweet. First person I've heard from Serbia, so welcome. I know we have someone from Australia and someone from England, UK, one of the two. England, I guess. Bunch of people from the US. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's only 8 p.m. here, so I'm not gonna say that I go to bed before 1 or 2 o'clock, though, so I usually read a bit or watch some other stuff later in the evening, so... Thank you. This is day 7, and I'm going to continue doing daily live streams until all of Skaventide is fully painted and based. So, I'm not always on at the same exact time, but I will be doing a stream every single day until this whole box is done. So, feel free to stop in anytime. Yeah, I think I might be able to finish these today. I'm not 100%. I mean, it's been over an hour, but there will be diminishing returns after a certain point where I can put, an hour into them and they'll look a tiny bit different. So, we'll see. Depends on how much I do to the denim, I think. Because once I've picked out all of the metals and gone back once on some of the fur to highlight that up a little bit, after those two things, it's going to be mostly extra layers of things. Yeah, I got all of my Vallejo paints except for the pale sand. Every other one came in a 16 pack. That's why I have like 5 blacks. But I wasn't that worried about it because black, silver, gold, white, and I think one of the reds. Green tarnished. I don't have one, but I could probably put a wash over something. I do have a few different green washes, so I could probably put that over the color to give it a look. Oh, that went a little bit too far. Come on, clean up. Come on. There we go. Yeah, I was thinking if I was going for something right now, I do have the camo cloak, speed paint, and I'm actually going to use some of this malignant green on the stones, the pieces of warpstone that are sticking out of at least that guy and that guy. So I don't know how much of that I'm going to put on it. Probably look pretty good to have a little bit, but I don't want to overdo it either. Probably put a little Nuln oil over some of it too, but not all of it. Yeah, I mean, each one has different colors for the text, you know. So I used the Agrax over the browns to give it more of a natural look, and the Nuln oil is going to be better over a metallic or something more mechanical, is how I usually do it. And you can thin down your washes if you don't want so much of an intensity, and it really depends on where, what, you know, you're looking for. Yeah, or you can use the cleaned off brush. You can dip it in the excess, absorb some of it, and then wipe it off. That's also a possibility. I'm gonna have to do a touch-up on that. Okay. All right. You can varnish at several different stages. If you're going to do any decals or transfers or whatever you want to call them, you want to varnish first. If you're going to do an oil wash, you probably want to varnish first. And when you're done with the model, to protect it, you can varnish then. Or any time in between that you just feel like it's the right time to do it. The majority of my models do not get varnished until I'm done, or ever. It's good to protect them, but it's not a required step. Okay, I think that's the second model done with this color. Oh, nope. Okay. No, actually using oils. Oil paints with mineral spirits. Even though it says oil in Nuln oil, it is still an acrylic wash. But if you take mineral oil or mineral spirits and if you take mineral spirits and an actual oil paint, you can make a wash that way. Some people do that, and then you cover it and then you wipe it away. But yeah, if you're doing any decals or anything, you want to put down a varnish first so that it slides on better. And then you also want to do it afterwards to keep it from, well, it blends it back in better. So both of those are good times to do it. Yeah. One of the great things about paint is you can layer the same thing 2 or 3 times and get, you know, if you wanted to do a wash and then the metal and then another wash, you can. The amount of paint actually going on each of these layers is not very much, especially if you thin your paints. You're really building such a small amount up on them, so you can do 10 or 20 layers of paint on a model before it really starts getting actually losing any detail. So like this part right here where I'm working, I've done the initial prime, a very light zenithal prime with a second color, and now I'm going over it with the paint, and I mean it's still, it's still fine. The tail has 5 layers of paint on it now, so I mean, the paints and the brushes and techniques that we do are nowhere near as thick as, say, painting a wall, where you can see the different layers over time. This is a much thinner paint. So well, I guess if you just keep on trying to paint other things, but one thing for Tyranids, at least, like I was saying about layers, the original models that I was doing, the carapace part, I had at least 8 layers on them. I was trying to do way more detail than really necessary on infantry. So there's nothing wrong with layering up multiple times with things. Over time, the blend is actually going to give you a better look. Like, this piece of metal right here is just shiny. Whereas if I then follow it up with a wash, it's going to dull it down a little bit, give it some color. The recesses will be a different shade. And then if I felt like it after that, I could layer it back up, give it more shine. There's always more you could do. Even the people who try to win competitions say that they run out of time rather than but yeah, if they usually run out of time instead of running out of things that, having a perfect model, because there's always something else that you could do, spend more time on, and finding the proper point where you're happy with the model is also important. Because, like, if I only had, say, 8 models in my collection not painted, not ever gonna happen, but say I only had 8, I'd want to put as much time as I could into them to make them as nice as possible. I have a lot more than 8, but I'm still going to paint them to a point where I feel good about them. Certain models, like my Space Marines, if I can get a squad of 10 in, 4 hours, okay. I have a certain level of expectation to field my Space Marines. The clan rats are not going to have as many layers as this guy does. Like, I don't usually do a wash after the metallics on the clan rats. But yeah, and then certain models that you paint are going to be at a higher standard than other models that you paint, and it's not going to matter outside of that's where you felt comfortable with. Like, you can paint a 10-hour character and then paint a 3-hour character next week. It doesn't need to be a consistency thing over the course of the whole army, unless you want it to be. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't even attempt to paint to a competition standard. I'm not there. I paint to the standard where I feel comfortable with what I got, and it's more than bare minimum. I mean, the 3-color minimum is kind of hilariously low, really, but you can get good looks with that. So well, I'm out of tea now. Good thing I keep water next to me too. Okay. Since I'm working on the metals, I'm gonna go to the oily steel now. Focus. Camera, focus. Please. Focus. There we go. Duncan Rhodes used to paint for Warhammer, and has the line of 2 thin coats of paint. So, on the wet palette, that's the gunmetal and that's the oily steel. There is a little bit of a difference there. It's a little bit darker. Hello! Yep, I am on models 6, 7, and 8 right now. And I may be able to finish these today, but we'll see. I would like to. I actually don't like how bright that is. I'm gonna put a dot of black in that. Where's my black? Now the question is, will I remember that I put black in the oily steel? And then the second question becomes, since this is a full unit, does it really matter? Oof. I got the paint way too high up on the ferrule. Okay, now, back to that. No, it does not really matter, but that is the oily steel with a bit of black mixed in. Focus. Yep. So it still has a metallic sheen. It still has the flakes from the metal. And it's not pure black, so I don't have to worry about having to highlight up or anything. but it definitely does contrast from all of the metals around it. And again, you can choose what details you're going to paint. Like, this one has a few points where the cabling is frayed and you can see inside. And if you wanted to highlight that up and do more detail work, you could. You could. I'm not going to. Again, I'm going for a very nice tabletop battle ready army. And the fact that the cable is there and it's a different color, I took the time for that. It's enough. There's enough contrast going on for the whole model that's good enough. So again, finding where you feel comfortable with it is important, and knowing where to stop, because like I could do 3 or 4 highlights on that one cable. It's not going to make much difference, and it's a lot of extra work for how much benefit. For the amount of time I could spend highlighting the one cord, the one tube, I could paint a clan rat. Like, I don't expect to paint a clan rat in 2 or 3 minutes, but like I could put hours into this tube. Is that the only tube on this dude? Nope. Okay. So like there are panels, there's little stitching on this one all the way up the hose. And it's gonna be all this color. But this one right here has some leather wrapping on it. And since it's on the front side instead of the rear hose, it will get leather. I hope you get to play with your models too. I know you're really excited to get those, so... I'm getting very excited about these guys being done. Like, it's been 2 hours tonight, but... and there's still plenty of other colors to go, but... they're getting there. How do I get in there? That is the hoses. Okay, now for... I might go a little bit longer. It depends. It depends on how close I get to these finished. I'm gonna hit a little bit of the pale sand on these guys. Because I don't like using pure white if I don't have to. And remember to swap over from my metal water to my regular acrylic water. And this... I am going to do the claws. And teeth, and anything else that I want to change the color from. So I'll probably dot the eyes, and I don't know what else. I'm just gonna give it a cursory glance and look. Okay. So as I was saying, the things that I'm going to paint a different color get the pale sand. This is the first layer down just to brighten it up. What is up with my phone today? Oh. Okay. So that is all of the things that I'm going to change the color of on this one. Good example too. This has already had 2 or 3 layers on it, and now I'm going back, changing the color, and going to paint more on top of that. Alright, so this guy doesn't look like he has any stones embedded in him. I don't know a better way of saying that. So okay. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I'll finish a mini, and if I see 2 or 3 tiny screw ups, I won't say, "Oh, I'll fix it later." I'll say, "I'll do better next time." If I still have the paints on my palette, I'll fix them up right then. But if I see them, months later or even a few days later, they're gonna be there. When I consider something done, it's done. Like when I was painting the Liberators the first day, I realized one of them didn't have the gold on the this panel right here, and I did get them the next day, but I was still working on them. If I say noticed that I didn't get the little straps right here, well, the little pieces of metal, well, if I don't get that detail, it's gonna stay right there like that, and I just pointed that out because I'm currently working with a non-metal paint, and I don't want to cross-contaminate and touch up that right now. So if I go back to my metallic water container, at some point I will fix it, and if not, it's just a background detail. But yeah, if I have the paint still going and everything, or I'm still in the process, oh yeah, I'll try to get back to it and fix it. But if I notice it after I've decided it's done, it's already done. I'll just do better next time. I don't lie to myself that I'm not ever gonna go back to it. That's bad. But try to do the best I can, and if there's mistakes, so be it. see. What is going on? Oh, yeah. The normal. Something's going on with the music. What is... So another thing, I'm changing the color on these parts, but I'm not worried about if it's a fully opaque layer or not. I'm just trying to get the color not to be so dark. Yeah. Like, since I'm in between right now, and I know that that's right there, and it's this model. There. 3 staples painted. Alright. Now, I'm still waiting for that to dry. So, let's do... Let's do... I got the 3 metals. I'm waiting for the teeth and claws and eyes to dry. I guess I need to do the leather. And I'm just gonna do a little bit of speed paint hardened leather. Ooh, good question. I was thinking, since it's gonna be the weekend, do I want to do a character? Maybe I'll do the dude with the flaming the torch? Yeah. Maybe I'll do the guy with the torch. And if I get him done tomorrow, I can work on one of the Skaven characters. Yeah, some of the characters, maybe? Since it's weekend. If it takes me 2 days to paint one, I'm not that worried about it. I mean, I've painted characters in 2 hours before, so I don't know if it'll end up being a fast one or a slow one. But I figured that might be a good thing to do tomorrow. There's so many different shades of brown on this rat. Well, I figured I'd do 7 p.m. Eastern for tomorrow. And I would start with I guess that's the Night Questor with the torch. And if I get them done and have more time, I can work on a Skaven model. Like the Warplock engineer or whatever, the dude with the telescope. And if it takes me longer, then that's fine because the stream's longer. That hardened leather is barely any different. But I painted it. It's a little bit darker. Actually, let's make it even darker. But yeah, if I spend the weekend to do some characters, that's pretty cool. And I have some ideas for next weekend, but we gotta get through this weekend first. I'm still trying to decide what I want to do with the denim look. I don't want to do anything that'll change it drastically, but it also is somewhat flat right now. So it needs more than just a stain. I'm wondering what it would look like if I put a very light layer of the speed paint in white over it. I guess the worst case is I then need to repaint it this solid color later if I don't like it. Or I could do a darker one. So I have the runic gray as a possibility. I have the other blue somewhere. I don't remember where I put it. In the drawer somewhere, maybe. Was there more leather on one of these guys? I'm gonna do the rope the same color. Yeah. That's decent for rope, right? One of these three has a small blue splotch on the leg. On the inner thigh, I think. Okay. Alright, let's see what the Runic Grey does. Congratulations, you're the one that's gonna find out. Alright. Just a drop of water. Alright, here goes. Is that even noticeable on camera? Let's see if I can get that to... It's still extremely wet, but... that should work. Haha. I'm gonna go back and dab off a tiny bit of that one really deep spot. There was way too much in that one recess, but yeah, I agree. I think this will shadow the shadows and tint it just a little bit, and the highlights should be nice and blue. Well, the lighter blue. All right. I mean, it'll change a little bit once it's fully dried, but It is going to take a little bit for it to dry, though. But I think I can do the next step without touching the fabric. Possibly. I can't do it until it's fully dry, though, because this stuff is quite wet. But yeah, an extremely light dry brush over the edges could work. Now, since we're doing washes, and for this one, I'm not going to water it down any. And I'm actually going a little bit outside of the lines. I want it to kind of pool up and maybe change the color of the skin a tiny bit. Yeah, it might say speed paint on the bottle, but if you want to use it as a wash, there's nothing stopping you. Hey Miyati, how's it going? I'm just putting a little bit of malignant green speed paint over some pale sand areas. It might require a second coat. Okay. I'm doing pretty good. I don't know if I'll get these guys actually done, but it's going pretty good. I'm going to use the Reichland Flesh Shade on the teeth and claws. Yeah, just trying to dirty them up a little bit. Throw my paintbrush again. I just want to tint them. They don't need to be a super different color. Alright. Yeah, see, the blue's starting to pool down a little bit. It's not all staying where I want it to. Still a nice color change, though. There's a little bit of a shading, but it doesn't need so much. But I am looking forward to finishing these. Maybe I will just keep going until I get it done tonight. Washes aren't going to play as fast with their dry times, but it would be nice to be done with 8 models instead of just 5. So... But yeah, just to tint them, it's, they look dirty now. Let's see if I can, yeah. Teeth look dirty now. If I had done Agrax, it would be more of a brown instead of a... I don't know. This is kind of... I mean, it's Reichland Flesh Shade, so it's kind of a pinky brown color. Maybe a little bit of an orange in it. I don't know. Okay. So that's it for the Reichland. So a little bit more of this malignant green. One of them had... Oh. I missed the stone right here. And the leather. See about the details and missing them? It happens. Alright, now... I need a brush with a good tip that I'm not worried about using speed paints with. Okay. Now, for the blood red. And I don't need a lot of it, because that's it. But yeah, doing the pale sand on the eye first means that it actually comes out pretty bright. And then... where's that? I'm gonna do a little bit of this around the edges. Dampen the brush, and then kind of work it around. That should add just a little bit of color right there. It's kind of watery right now. The rat ogres? Or the scarification? Or both? Oh, no. These are from the Skaventide box. These are the rat ogres. They are the same size as the storm fiends, but they're melee instead of ranged versions. That's a little bit too washed. I need to... I got that too many places. So just water it down and pull it back off in certain areas. No, it's okay. It's the same size. It's just a new sculpt from a week ago. So... oh, that whole area is going to look a little bit raw. That's okay. Different levels of freshness. Like, let's see if I can get this to color correct a little bit. There we go. Different angles that you can see it in. So. Oh yeah, I'm thrilled to have new Skaven models. It's amazing to have them. Yeah. Could probably put a little bit of purple in here too, but the the particular shade's a little bit weird. Alright. Maybe. A lot of this is still wet and it's shiny. Okay. Okay. Let's see. There's a bit up here. So I'm not putting a lot of this on here. but there should be enough to give a little bit of sense to what's going on. Okay. I did water down the red a little bit on the palette, so the eye might not be shining as much as the others did. And I need to go back on the last one and do the malignant green on that one that I needed to fix because I missed it. And I could probably do another runic gray layer. Maybe with less water in it. I don't know if I actually want to go and highlight up more of the fur. Don't really know if it's necessary or not. I still haven't done any washes on the metals, but I don't really know if they need it. They're already pretty dull. Maybe. I mean, yeah, let's do a little bit of Nuln Oil. Let's do a bit of Nuln Oil. Oh yeah, Nuln Oil definitely helped. Sadly, I don't have the old Nuln Oil. It's just the new. It's still nice. There. All right. Nuln up. Okay. It's amazing how much a little bit of wash will change how something looks. Okay. So that was the null oil. This one has the malignant green that I still have to hit. Alright, I'm gonna do one more runic gray on the denim. Yeah. Because it was a really light denim color. So if I do this 2 to 3 times, I might just be making a slightly darker denim and I don't need to highlight up. Just getting a better look for it. Again, multiple layers can make a nice variety. So biggest issue is there's enough colors that are wet right now with the washes and the speed paints and different areas that I'm getting to a point where I can't put anything else on. I don't know how much more there is that I need to do though. Like, the eyes are done, the claws are done. I've done the null oil. These guys might be done, I just need to let them dry. Because no one's going to tell me that these are not battle ready if I put a base on them. So, well, people can tell me that, but... I don't think the fur needs any more highlights. Like, I could put several hours into making it different, but... like, the metals stand out well now. All of the scarification is there. The denim has multiple shades going on. Like, I think I'm gonna call them done, minus the basing. I keep saying that, but, you know, I'm not gonna work on the bases until I can get some toppers made. Not toppers, but bits for it. So, like, all of the claws and teeth are tinted down. So, I think I actually finished the Rat Ogres. Which means that tomorrow I start on, what, Night Questor? Night Questor tomorrow? They really are cool models. But yeah, I think I'm gonna call it here. Music did stop. I feel like this is a good place for them to be. I mean, they have, what, like 15 different colors, I think? I did 10 just today. I used all of the wet palette, pretty much. I have a little bit of spot right here, but yeah. Yeah, so thank you for joining me again. I had a lot of fun. I am up to 8 models painted out of 78. And I hope to see you tomorrow for the Night Quest tour. And until then, I hope you find your bit of bliss. Have a good night, everyone. Don't forget to post your progress in the Discord. Night.